The message came on a Tuesday. Not a call, not even a conversation, a text. I think it's best if you don't come to the wedding. I just want to avoid drama. I stared at it until the words blurred. Avoid drama. That phrase, I had heard it before. We all have. It's what people say when they mean, I don't want to deal with the truth you carry. It's the label people give you when they've already decided you're the problem. And the cleanest solution is to make you disappear. I called her immediately. She answered on the second ring, which meant she was expecting it. Nika, what drama? My voice was steady. I was proud of that. She sighed, long and slow, like I was already exhausting her. You and Mom have tension. I can't risk anything going wrong. I just want one perfect day. I haven't argued with Mom in months. It's not just that. Then what is it? Silence. Not the empty kind. The full kind. The kind stuffed with things a person decided not to say out loud. Am I uninvited from my own sister's wedding? Don't say it like that. How should I say it? More silence, then softer. I just want peace. I almost laughed. Not the funny kind. The kind that escapes when something hurts so much the only other option is to fall apart. I didn't fall apart. I said, okay, Nika, and I hung up. For a moment, real grief came, sharp and fast, like a door slamming in your face, 31 years of being her person. The one who drove her to her first date because she was too nervous to take the bus. The one who held her when their father left. The one who had been quietly, steadily, unconditionally in her corner. And she texted me out of her wedding like a problem to be solved. But the grief passed. What replaced it surprised me. Clarity. Pure, clean, quiet clarity. If I was such a risk, then fine. I'd remove myself completely, not just from the ceremony, from the entire performance, from every curated, careful smile-for-the-camera moment of that entire weekend. I didn't know it yet, but that one quiet decision was going to be the best one I ever made. A week later, I found out she hadn't just uninvited me. She replaced me. My cousin Adeze called to ask about a wedding gift. Casual, easy, not knowing she was dropping something heavy. I'm walking in your spot, by the way, she said. She asked me last week. My spot. The spot Nika had called me crying about when she first got engaged. Happy tears, she'd said. I want you next to me. You're my person. That was 14 months ago. Now my name had been quietly erased from the program. My seat at the family table reassigned. My childhood role handed to someone else like a coat that needed a new hook. And then came the part that stung more than anything else. My mother agreed with it. Nika is right, Mom said when I called her that evening. You can be intense, Obina. You know how you get. Intense. That word. The word people use when they mean you say things we don't want to hear. You notice things we'd prefer to ignore. You ask questions that make us uncomfortable. I didn't fight. I had learned a long time ago. When your family has already written the story about you, defending yourself only confirms what they've already decided. That night, my fiancé Dami sat across from me at dinner, watching my face the way he does when he knows something is wrong. They replaced me, I said. He put his fork down. What? My spot, my seat, all of it gone. He was quiet for a moment. Then, so what do we do that weekend? And I felt something shift in my chest. Something that had been soft and sad a minute ago suddenly became solid. We go somewhere better, I said. He smiled, slow and certain. Tell me where. By the next morning, we had booked flights to the Caribbean. Beachfront, salt air, the kind of blue water that looks too beautiful to be real. No family group chat. No borrowed dress. No performing piece for the sake of photographs. If I was going to be treated like an outsider, I was going to be one somewhere beautiful. What I didn't know, what I could not have imagined, was that while I was packing my suitcase, something was already cracking back home. Something that had been cracking quietly for a long time underneath all that carefully maintained surface. It would just take a wedding to finally split it open completely. The morning of the wedding, I woke up to real sunlight, the kind that comes off water, the kind that fills a whole room with warmth and light and makes you feel, for a few seconds, like everything is exactly right. Dami was on the balcony with coffee. I joined him. We sat in comfortable quiet, watching the sea. This is what peace actually feels like, I thought. Not the forced kind, the real kind. My phone buzzed, then again, then again. Must then 47 times in a row as the family group chat erupted. Photos of my sister in her lace gown, luminous and glowing, bridesmaids in matching silk robes, my mother in a gold head wrap, eyes bright with tears. The venue in white and gold, perfect in every way I had always known it would be. She looked beautiful. She really did. I muted the notifications and put my phone in my bag. We took a catamaran out that morning. Champagne too early, sea too blue, laughter about nothing in particular. I held Dami's hand off the side of the boat and let the salt water dry on my skin, and somewhere in the middle of that warm, open sea, I realized something. I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was relieved. Relieved not to be performing, relieved not to be monitoring my tone, my expressions, the angle of my smile, relieved not to be carefully editing myself in real time so someone else's day could look peaceful in photos. Then my phone rang. Adaz, the cousin walking in my spot. I answered, more out of curiosity than anything else. Her voice was strange, tight, like she had been running. Are you sitting down? I looked at the deck of the catamaran, the sea in every direction, the sky impossibly clear. Technically, yes. Something just happened at the ceremony. I sat up straight. In the background, I could hear it. The sound of a large space gone wrong, voices overlapping, someone crying somewhere. Music that had cut off mid-song and not come back. The officiant asked the usual line. Adaz whispered, "You know, if anyone objects..." "Yes." Someone stood up. My stomach dropped. "Who?" She exhaled slowly. "The groom's best man." His name was Chukwu, Remy's closest friend since university, a man everyone at that wedding knew and trusted. When he stood up, people smiled. They assumed it was a prank, a best man joke, the harmless kind. It wasn't. "I can't stay quiet anymore," he said. And then he told the truth. Remy had been seeing someone else. For months. He had tried to end it before the wedding. He hadn't managed it. He was still in contact with her the week before. Standing at that altar about to marry Neka was a mistake, and Chukwu was not going to watch it happen. Neka laughed at first. Adayaz told me this through shaking breaths over the phone. Neka genuinely thought it was a bad joke. She looked at Remy, waiting for him to laugh too. Waiting for him to say, "Relax, it's nothing. It's just Chukwu being Chukwu." Remy didn't say anything. He stood there, silent, 200 guests watching. "He didn't deny it," I asked. "He didn't deny it," Adaz said. "He said he needed a minute. He needed air. He walked outside." "And came back?" The pause before her answer told me everything. He didn't come back. I closed my eyes. Back home, the reception hall sat full of white and gold flowers and untouched champagne and a 5-tiered cake nobody was going to cut. My mother was crying in the bridal suite. The wedding planner was arguing with the caterers about what to do with 400 plates of food. Guests were gathering their things with the careful, embarrassed movements of people who have witnessed something private and cannot unsee it. The irony was not subtle. I had been removed from this day because someone feared I might cause disruption, and the only disruption that came, the kind that shattered everything, publicly, permanently, had nothing to do with me. My phone buzzed again. My mother. Her voice when I answered was not the voice I knew. The voice I knew was certain, steady. The voice of a woman who had raised 4 children mostly alone and decided long ago that certainty was the same as strength. This voice was small. "She won't come out of the bridal suite," Mom said. "She won't talk to anyone. Can you..." She stopped, started again. "Can you talk to her?" The same family that had erased my name from the program was now asking for my voice to steady the aftermath. I let that sit for a moment. Then I said, "I'll call her." Neka answered on the third ring. Her voice was hollow, flat, like the sound had been taken clean out of it. "I'm so sorry," I said. "Not for missing the wedding. Not for the Caribbean trip. For what happened to her. For the betrayal. Because no matter what she did to me, nobody deserves to be left at an altar in front of 200 people in a dress they spent months choosing." A long silence, then barely above a whisper, "You were right about him." 6 months ago, I had gently, carefully said something. I had noticed the way Remy spoke to her when he thought no one was watching. Small dismissals. An evasiveness I couldn't name but couldn't ignore. I brought it up once, just once. She had looked at me and said, "You just don't want me to be happy." I had let it go, because I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want to be right, I told her now. "I know." Another silence, then something that reframed the entire story in a single sentence. "I knew something was wrong," she whispered. "I think I've known for a while, but every time I got close to saying it out loud, I would think about the day, about the planning, about what it would mean to cancel, and I just kept moving forward." I waited. "I thought if you weren't there, everything would feel more stable. You ask questions, Obina. You always ask the ones nobody else will, and I didn't want them asked." There it was. She hadn't uninvited me to avoid drama. She had uninvited me to avoid doubt. And in trying to silence the doubt, she had walked straight into the thing she feared most, in front of 200 people, in a lace dress, on the happiest day of her life. "Come out of that room," I said quietly. "You don't have to explain anything to anyone. Just come out." A long pause. Then I heard the door unlock. I thought the story would end there. It didn't. That evening, while Dami and I were having dinner on the hotel terrace watching the sun go down over the water, my phone started lighting up with messages from the family chat. Remy had posted online a statement, carefully vague the way guilty people are careful and vague. He wrote about private matters being misrepresented, used the word misunderstanding 4 times, suggested that Chukwu had acted out of personal jealousy, implied the objection had been exaggerated, that context was missing, that things were more complicated than they appeared. His family began commenting. A few old friends, too. The narrative was shifting. People who hadn't been in that room were already forming their own versions, and Remy was helping shape them, quietly, steadily, into the version that made him look like the victim. Dami read it over my shoulder and said nothing for a moment. Then, "He's going to get away with it." I thought he might be right. These things happen all the time. A man does something cruel. Then he controls the story afterward, online, carefully, until the memory of what he actually did gets soft and blurry, and the woman he hurt is left holding all the pain with nothing to show for it. I texted Neka. "Have you seen what he posted?" She had. I watched my phone for 20 minutes, then it buzzed, not a text, a notification from her social media page. She had posted. No long caption, no statement, no paragraph of carefully measured words, just screenshots, the messages between Remy and the other woman, dozens of them. Timestamps running right up to the week before the wedding, hotel confirmations, photographs, everything. She hadn't protected him. She hadn't protected the image. She hadn't chosen curated peace over honest truth. The comments turned within minutes. The sympathy that had been drifting toward Remy's careful story flipped completely, publicly and permanently. His statement disappeared. His family went quiet. The man who had tried to write himself as a victim was now exactly what he was, visible and accountable in a way he could not undo. And Neka, left at the altar, locked in a bridal suite, humiliated in front of 200 people, became something else entirely. Not a victim. A woman who chose truth over appearance. Late that night, she called me. Her voice was different. Not happy. You don't become happy that fast after something like this. But steadier. like someone who has set down something very heavy they had been carrying without realizing how much it weighed. "I thought excluding you would make everything easier," she said. I said nothing. "It just made me more alone, because you were the only one who would have told me the truth, and I made sure you weren't there." I let her sit in that. Then I said, "You deserved honesty. You always did." 3 weeks later, we had coffee. No dress, no event, no performance of any kind. Just 2 cups and a small table and the specific kind of quiet that only comes after something has broken and been rebuilt differently. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You weren't the drama." I waited. "You were the only one brave enough to actually see it." I didn't say I told you so. I didn't need to, because here is what I have come to understand about families and weddings and the word drama. Drama is not the person who speaks up. Drama is not the one who asks uncomfortable questions. Drama is not the voice that unsettles a carefully arranged table. Drama is what happens when people spend so long avoiding the truth that the truth eventually arrives on its own, louder and more destructive than any honest conversation ever would have been. They excluded me to keep the day smooth. Life made it chaotic anyway. And the strange part, the part I still think about sometimes when everything is quiet, is that in the end, nobody could blame me. I wasn't there. I was never the problem. I was just the one they couldn't silence forever. And this time, when things finally started to rebuild, slowly, honestly, with no performance required, I was the one still standing.